Hey everybody, my name is Chris Coverness. My friends call me Kubby, and this is the Kubby Show, where I dive into topics on marketing, business, and social media to give you the tools, the tips, and the tactics that you need to grow your business and grow it fast. It's been a while since we've done a Kubby Show. I've been busy building my business, basically, so I haven't had a lot of time to do this, but I'm jumping back on it because I see a lot of value that it brings to you guys out there in the community and on the YouTube channel, so I really wanted to get back into it. So I hope you enjoy this. Now this week what we did is we asked a bunch of people on Instagram to come with their questions about social media or marketing or basically anything. And we handpicked a few to go through. I haven't seen these yet, I don't know what they're asking, but let's go through it now and see if I can help them out. So Kamal here's gonna help me out. Kamal, let's see, what do you got there, man?
What's up, Chris? Hope you're doing well, man. So I've got two questions for you. One, how did you pick the type of client that Cub & Co goes after? And how did you get your first client without having a portfolio to back up your work? Thanks.
Well, Billy Nubbs, the reality is like I didn't go and pick people to work with. Honestly, I think a lot of people get caught up in that sort of thing of they have to figure out who their right customers are before they actually go out. And I don't believe in that method. I think that you will eventually find out who you want to work with. But essentially it wasn't, even though I had a portfolio of other stuff. So before I started my business, of course, I was already a digital marketing manager for a number of large software companies. I had already been a head of digital for an advertising agency. So I had a large network. So it was easy for me to actually transition from working my 9-to-5 corporate gig to actually working for my own company or building my own company. And then the first clients were actually people that had seen me speak at events, that knew, about me and about what I do and sort of the skills I had. And they actually reached out to me and said, hey, Kubby, we'd really like your help in these areas. And those were nice, small to beginning clients that really just needed some help in growth hacking and getting their marketing machine up and running. So it wasn't like big, Fortune 500 companies that started out with, it was really the small ones. So I really recommend, using your current network. Who do you know currently that you can sell to? Don't think too much about like, who's the ideal customer. That will emerge. The ideal customer right now is the ones that pay you money. That's the ideal customer. And then you can start to figure out who is it that we work best with. So I hope that answers your question, Billy. Next.
Hey, how's it going, Kubby? Just wanted to say a massive thank you for all of the content that you make, all the value that you provide. Really appreciate you. So, my name is John Holt and I run a YouTube channel called The Audio Journey. And I built that up to about 7,000 or 8,000 subscribers in the last 8 or 9 months or so. Now, on that channel, I teach music production to beginners, and I'm also studying the final year of my degree. I'm also working part-time. I'm also doing videos for companies that have approached me through the YouTube channel, and I'm also running the YouTube channel at the same time. I want to know what your thoughts would be on me finding a balance between mastering my craft of music production, because I'm only 22, and keeping producing content for this YouTube channel, which has obviously got a bit of momentum at the moment. I love making content and engaging with my audience, but I feel like I need to be as good as I can at what I do before I really get up to that next level of producing that content. Would love to know your thoughts.
Okay, so this is super interesting because John here, thank you for your question. I think you're like a lot of people that are balancing, doing and building at the same time. And I think my dad, I love my dad. He came up with this. I don't know if he came up with this, but I use it. It's you got to fly the plane and build the plane at the same time. And I think that's going to be the title of my first book, by the way. Nobody steal it, but you got to fly the plane and build the plane at the same time. So finding that balance between thinking about, is my content good enough, and am my services and am I teaching people good enough? I think the thing that you have to get over is that you're good at any level. Like people will say, what is good content or what is good production, or that's very subjective these days. And I think it comes down to, for example, one of my good friends is a photographer, and she had a problem with sort of, I'm not good enough to be a professional photographer. And I'm like, hey, if people are going to pay you to take pictures of them, you are a professional photographer. Of course, there's varying degrees in that, and you have to find that, and you'll get better and better and better. But I think honestly, most people sort of have this thing about, oh, maybe my content is good enough. I say, fuck that shit. Your content is good enough and will get better and better, but you have to keep producing it. Now, on the other side, you're asking about sort of a balance. Like, I think that's for everybody to find out for themselves. I haven't found a balance yet between producing content and being active on social and running a business. I think everybody's got their own way of doing it, but I will say this, that when I produce content and I do well in the social media space, it tends to also overlap into business success. So I believe that the new wave or the new age, and it's not new, but the new way of getting into people's hearts and minds is through the content that you produce. So I don't think that you should stop that, because that's what's going to separate you from your competitors and separate you from everybody else. And you are also, as an audio producer, learning through your craft as producing stuff for YouTube or producing stuff for SoundCloud or whatever it is. So you've got the best opportunity here because you're also learning on the job, so to speak. So I recommend you have to find that balance, but I would say keep going with it. Don't, try your best to keep the content production up and keep your other aspects going at the same time. And don't be afraid if one fails or one, in periods of your life where you're not able to produce a lot of content. Don't get down on yourself and don't think, oh man, I wish I would have done that. No, fuck that. Just, get back on the horse and keep doing it and try again and try to find that balance. That's all I say. Thanks, John.
Hey, Kubby and Co. I have 2 questions. One to do with Instagram. Do I put the hashtags in the original post, or do I put it in the first comment? Because I'm hearing some duplicitous advice on that. So if I could get that cleared up, that'd be great. And I also have a question on that front with Facebook. Does it even matter to put hashtags in them? And again, is it put in the original post under the picture, with the picture, whatever it is? Or do I put that in the first comment as well? Please and thank you.
All right, so thank you for your question. I think it's very interesting because this is changing all the time. And if you keep up with the industry tactics or the industry news, some people are saying no, comments or hashtags in the comments now is not as effective as it used to be. Now, some people are recommending to me that we put them in a couple in the first caption, in the first post, the actual post, and then put the rest in the second comment and trying to figure out what that balance is. So I would say, like, for now, that's what I'm getting told by some industry experts, that a couple in the first thing, the caption, and then all the rest in the first comment. Now, I don't think it matters so much for Facebook unless you're tapping into an existing campaign or something that's already running. For example, if it is, if it's the Ice Bucket Challenge, I mean, that's gone, but there'll be other challenges, and you're trying to tap into that, that might make sense to use that hashtag for Facebook and for obviously Twitter, because that's the home of hashtags, but that, and also Instagram. So, I would say and also LinkedIn now is sort of jumping on the hashtag train. So I would say use those hashtags in Facebook and LinkedIn if you're going to try to tap into something. If you're trying to create your own movement with hashtags on those platforms, I don't think it works. So that's my recommendation, but I think this is changing all the time. Sometimes I go without hashtags. Sometimes I try no hashtags and see how that runs. I think that the best marketers or the smartest marketers nowadays are the ones that don't take everything at face value and actually test it out for themselves. So that's my advice to you.
Hey, Chris Waleed here from the Soapbox Laundry Service here in Brooklyn, New York. Our question for you is, as a service business, what kind of content can we focus on and post on Instagram to engage more users and keep them highly engaged? Looking forward to your response. Take care. Keep up the great work, man. Later.
What kind of content on Instagram as a service business to keep them engaged? I think that obviously it centers around what your service is, but at the same time, I think you need to look at the periphery of what you do. So for example, your laundry service, right? You can also teach people how to do better laundry at home. You could also teach people how to better fold their clothes or quicker ways of folding their clothes. There's lots of stuff like that online, but maybe you can come up with another angle into washing clothes. Maybe there's a better way to stack clothes into places. I also think that people would like content people are a little bit selfish when it comes to content. They want stuff that's entertaining and valuable to them, right? So you could also do life hacks that aren't just necessarily about doing laundry so much, or you could also start to run contests to say, hey, people love contests, do this and do this, or give us a shout out, or those kind of things, and we'll enter you in a contest to win laundry service for this week or for next. I also think people like good emotional heart stories. So if you guys are, for example, out delivering laundry, I think there's some funny thing in actually showing you guys doing that and showing the impact you have on people's lives by actually saving them time and money and energy, because you're going and you're delivering the laundry to them. So that kind of funny, like seeing people get happy from getting their laundry is probably really nice. And you could also do some Humans of New York type stuff where you're profiling people, profiling customers. That's kind of interesting, like to do that on Instagram, because everybody wants to be an Instagram star or somebody, so featuring your customers could be a really funny way, if they want to, of course, and tell their story of, if you're in a specific area, like you're in Brooklyn, telling, the Brooklyn soapbox, customers, what are they doing? What was their history? When did they move into the area? Things like that could be really interesting for people to follow. So it's not just about giving people tips and value for, how to do their life better, but it could also be heartwarming stories and things like that. Does that make sense?
To me, it does.
To you, it does. I don't know. Try that. But it also depends on sort of who your customers are. A lot of people, I think they're probably busy professionals, right? So anything to give them value to help them save time and money and energy during the day, I think all of that will be well received. So that's it. Thank you so much for your questions. I hope it helped out not only you who asked the questions, but also anybody out there that has similar sort of concerns or comments or questions. Thank you so much for watching. See you guys next time. If you are not subscribed, please subscribe. It costs nothing to subscribe, and then you can unsubscribe later if you hate this stuff that I'm putting out. But if you love the stuff that I'm putting out, then stick around. Adios, amigos.
See you later, guys.
I don't think you're in the video.
Am I not?
I don't know.
I'm so confused.